Hello again. Well, now that I've upgraded the video quality and audio quality of the live stream, I'm going to use the new scope. In that, we're going to inspect the work that I did on the Arizona QRP antenna analyzer. And all in all, I don't think I did too bad with minimum magnification. So we're looking here at the top of the board. And the first thing that I notice is a lot of these little solder balls are hanging around. That's from the paste. So they will scrape off once I put it all into alcohol and get the flux cleaned off and all that. So those will go away. For the most part, though, soldering looks pretty good. There's definitely enough solder on a lot of the parts. Now here is where they have a plated through hole going to the other side of the board. So it's difficult to see that, well, not difficult, but we can see that it looks like there's not a lot of solder on there on C25, but it's sufficient. There's enough to keep it on the board and be conductive, and that's what we want. Looking around some more, the double EEPROM up here looks fine. It's got enough solder on the legs. The SA612 mixers don't look too bad. I'd say we could put a little extra on U3, excuse me. And the other thing I noticed that during the previous live stream, I had left my iron on temperature for through-hole parts. And unfortunately, that lifted one of the pads on the audio chip. And I will, come on there, heat up for me. You heating up? So I had to lower the temperature a little bit. That's better. We'll get pin heated up here too. There we go. So that looked pretty good. So looking else around the board, yeah, it didn't come out too bad. You see, now I see some of the resistors are, like installed upside down, but that doesn't matter. Lots of little solder balls going on. Everything's okay. 5S21, I think it's a 5. It's hard to read on. Looks good enough. It looks good. Soldered down well. The crystal is sufficient solder. Lots of solder balls. Little blob right here. That's a little too much for that, so we'll knock it down. Where's my solder wick? Actually, there's 2 of them that have a little too much on them. There we go. And this one over here is a little too blobby myself. A little too much there. We'll pick that up. There we go. Kind of touch it up on either side. Okay. Now, looking at the the digital analog converter for the audio. Yeah, I got the blob here. That's easy to clean off. I also noticed I had lifted a pad. Part of that is due to leaving leaving my iron on too hot. Remember when I ran my iron around the edge of the chip to make sure there was enough solder on each of the pins, and unfortunately that did not happen. So you can see here that there's almost no solder on some of the pins. And it's that way all the way around the chip. So for right now, I'm going to have to lift this. I'm going to have to remove this and start over. The pad that I have that I've lifted is this one right there. See, it kind of lifted it off. Now it doesn't go anywhere, so it's not going to be an issue electrically. So that's okay. All the rest of the pads look fine. And you can see quite a few of them don't go anywhere. So these do. So let's get this chip off the board and this chip off the board, get the pads cleaned up, and see about putting it back down on the. We'll put it back down on the board. So put a nice blob of flux on there. Get the hot air gun going here. Kind of slowly heat up the board. Oh, I lifted a lot of them. Look at that. Oh, that's bad. Well, not really. So the ones that came off don't go anywhere. So it's not going to be an issue for oops. It's not going to be an issue for it functioning, for the analyzer to work, but it does, you know, it's not the best thing. You want to keep it, you want to keep things on the circuit board if all possible. If these traces actually went somewhere, I would show you a technique of how to use very small wire to fix it. But you can see here that a lot of the chip did not get soldered down. There's quite a few pins here and all that. So let's get those off of there. Okay. Those cleaned up. Let's get some solder down here. And there's another pin that didn't make it. Let's flip it around. Kind of pre-tin everything. All right, let's look back at the board again. Okay. See about cleaning it up a bit. Now there's going to be another trace that's going to come off there. It's going to be this one right here. And it looks like that one goes somewhere. Let's, yep. So if you're gonna, when you're cleaning up solder on pads like this, it's okay to go back and forth slowly in the same direction that the pads uh, are going. So you can go, you know, don't go back and forth this way, up and down. Something I've revised from my earlier videos. We'll get these all cleaned up. Okay. Get all the old flux off it. Make sure we get that all cleaned up. All right, that looks better. Still, you can see the solder ball is just coming off as soon as you start scrubbing it. So, okay, that looks better. Still got the one pad right here that's loose, and that goes somewhere. Now I might be able to still solder it down. Because it's only part of the pad is off, not the whole thing. Take that back. It looks like it's the whole thing. So let's see if I can just leave it there and see if I can. Need some more flux on there. Spread it around a bit. We'll get some solder on each of the pads. Okay. One up here we didn't quite get. There we go. Just like that. Let's see if I can. Okay. Seems my center of my vision in the microscope is a little different than what I'm seeing through the scope. The camera is camera's a little different, so still kind of getting used to this. But now that we've done this, plop the part down. Okay, let's take a closer look at it. Let's clean it off a little bit. See how well it's went down. It looks good. So it's showing a little bit off, actually. Well, maybe not. I think it just needs more solder. I don't know if I can focus on this end. Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, so it's, oh, it's really not that off. Look at that. No, it's actually not bad. It's a little off, but not enough to worry about. So what I'll do is get it back in focus here. See what we're doing. See, my camera's twisted a little bit. Okay, so we got that. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, there we are. Look at that. Much better. That's the best I can focus on that, but we can see, now we can see clearly the solder's up on the chip. Down to the pads, my trouble pad. Not quite, I think it needs a little more. It needs a little bit more solder on that one. So Let's take a look. Yeah, now we can see solder. It's a little off. Well, no, it's not. It looks like... Yeah, there's solder on everything. But why is it look... Why is the rest of the board aligned properly? See, that looks aligned properly. That's a little off. Yeah, I can't focus any better than that. Yeah, it's off a little bit. All right. Let's heat it up one more time, and I don't need to be in quite that level of zoom. See if that helps. Let's take a look. That's a lot better. You can see. See a lot better there. Still working with the scope, still learning the scope, so it's gonna take a little bit of time. Get back in the middle here, take a look on the end. There we go. See, look at that. Now it's aligned. Okay, that should be all right. I don't think I damaged the chip with the extra heat. Where am I? I lost my bearings here. Turn it around. Okay, that is so much nicer. Do a quick back the zoom out here. So let's see, let's do a little ring out here, make sure we got that bad, that lifted pad is still down, and we're still good here. Yep, it's up against the edge of the chip, so that's okay. All right, so that's cleaned up. What else do we got on this board? Like I said, the missing pads that were lifted, they're not going to go anywhere. They don't go anywhere else on the board. So we'll just leave it there for now. I don't think I ruined the DAC due to too much heat. I need a little cleanup there. Crooked resistors are fine. Touch that up. Looking at U5 here, the memory. Okay. Little blobby down here, but I'm not going to worry about it. Let's check the back of the board. U4 looks good. Both sides, it looks fine. Let's see, the rest of the cap zapitors look good. A little crooked, but that never hurt anyone. We got some. This came from the top of the board. And I think just going to reflow this chip right there. It's a little more flux on there. I know it looks like I'm putting a huge, huge amount of flux on this thing, but I'm really not. It's real tiny. That'll be too noisy. Built an industrial strength fume extractor. But unfortunately, although it works great, it is just too noisy. Let's see here. Get that cleaned up. There we are. Okay. All right, that's all cleaned up. Let me adjust the camera. Still messing around with the scope camera to keep it focused. It's got a different kind of focus than, for some reason, than what I see in the. All right. Well, that's it from here. I think this is ready to be assembled in the. It needs to be cleaned first, which I'll do, but then it's ready to be continuing the rest of the project, and I'll follow on with that in a separate video. So I'm gonna say have a good night, good evening, appropriate salutations for, I think I'm popping a little bit from the audio. I hope you found it better, the audio quality better than what I've done in the past. And a little less noise, more volume, better quality. And hope you enjoy the investment in the scope. So, like I've said before, 7.3, and catch me on the next stream.